Hey everybody, it's Andrew Martin, the Spiritual Rebel, coming to you with another message on this beautiful Thursday. It's a gorgeous day here in Seattle. I hope that wherever you are, that you're happy and healthy and smiling and that all is well. Let's just jump right into it. This message is going to be a little bit of everything, but primarily this is about where we are kind of energetically at this point and where we're moving. I've had some interesting things happen with my own readings and my own abilities. As of just a couple of weeks ago, I suddenly was guided to begin to communicate directly with people's higher selves, and which is a shift because generally in the past my information was coming from my own team and my own guides, and I would sort of get the information from them and relay it to the person. And my understanding is like, the person that I was working with, their higher self would tell my team, and then my team would tell me, and then I would tell the person. Now it's a combination of me, getting information and guidance from my team, but then also communicating with people's higher selves directly and getting messages directly from them. And it's an interesting thing when I'm doing readings. There's like different places that I go, and that's the best way that I can explain it, is that from my perspective, there's like a field, and my guides usually are kind of in the center of my field, sometimes a little bit off to the left. And the guides now, when I'm communicating with someone's higher self, it's off to the right and kind of up. So it's just an interesting thing that's happened. But what I've been seeing with every single person that I've been doing a reading with and these higher self readings, and it's been amazing. It's like basically a conversation directly with your higher self, and people get to ask whatever questions they want, and the guidance is much more specific to the person. And it's been really super powerful and amazing. And to see these energetic and higher self aspects of people is so illuminating, because sometimes I'm seeing them like fully formed as like an energetic being, and I see hair color and what they're wearing, and I get a sense of their feeling and their attitude and sort of their sense of humor and their personality. It's very, very cool and super exciting. But what I have seen with pretty much every single person that I've done these higher self readings for is that their higher selves across the board are saying that it's time. It's time. It's time to do whatever it is that has been kind of plopped in front of them, myself included, plopped in front of them, things that they've known that were coming up sort of for their, time for them to deal with, to acknowledge or to take care of, things that they've been putting off, things that they haven't really wanted to do, things that they've been sort of afraid to do or have been avoiding. But across the board, it has been things that nobody is surprised to hear. And it's all the response has been sort of like, yeah, I know. Yeah, I knew that was coming, or God, okay, I knew eventually it was going to be time to deal with this. And the energies of July and August, especially mid-July when Venus went retrograde, and up until the first week of September when Venus goes direct, has been all about internal work and all about expanding into the truth of who we are, all about this expansion and growth and this sort of outward directed energy. And I mean outward internally, because I feel like up until this year, so much of what we were doing was excavating. We were clearing space. We were digging the holes. We were creating the void. I talked about this in some of my other videos. It was about getting rid of all the stuff and moving all the junk out and the old stories and the old beliefs and old ideas and really clearing it out. And now the energy has been still internal, but it's been an expansive thing. It's been now we have created the space. We created the space with all of our work, and now it's been a matter of allowing these energies to come in and to fill up the space and to take root and to take hold and to begin to integrate themselves into our lives. And what that has required, that has triggered another level of release and surrender. But really, all it has really been asking from us is to let go, to surrender, to just hold up our hands and say, okay, whatever doesn't work, whatever is in alignment with the truth of who I know myself to be now, whatever just isn't functional anymore, whatever's broken, whatever isn't just vibing and flowing, and what just doesn't feel true or congruent or integral to who I am now, is what these energies are coming in. And we've been sort of in this tug of war. The energies are coming in and saying, hey, we're here to take this from you. Would you let it go? And we've been hanging on and going, no, I don't want to. I'm not ready. Because the mind, I've said this before, the mind only ever wants comfort, stasis, predictability, things to stay the same. It wants to know what's coming. It only ever wants us to be in this very small, contained, predictable existence. And in order to move out of that, in order to allow these energies to expand us into this new level of truth and understanding of who we really are, which is divine, powerful, infinite creators, these energies have been coming in to take those old stories and sort of the vestiges of these old ideas and beliefs and old identities from us. And the mind just hasn't wanted to let it go. And these energies aren't really asking anything from us but to let go. And letting go sometimes is the hardest thing to do. Trust me, I get it. Because letting go requires us to get really, really honest about these sort of core issues that we haven't really been willing to really fully surrender. We've gotten really good at kind of getting rid of the symptoms and kind of getting rid of smaller stuff and, you know, sort of clearing the space, but there's still been these sort of core issues that we haven't really been wanting to let go of, and these have been really deeply personal. They've been, you know, ending of relationships, ending of jobs, careers, switching tracks completely from one career to another, finding ourselves that the relationships and the jobs and the success and all of the things that we used to use as our markers for happiness and success just aren't resonating anymore. And it's been the surrender of those things and allowing them, and to say, the plan that I had created for myself and the vision that I had created for myself was so small and so paled in comparison to the true plan that has been written by me and for me. The things that have been promised to me and the things that I have agreed to do in this lifetime are so much more spectacular and huge and amazing than the little life that I have been constructing for myself. And when I say little life, I mean from the small self, just from the ego mind. That it's been about saying, okay, I have to let go of these old identities. I have to let go of these old ways that I used to define myself because they just aren't true anymore. And I've been seeing this image from everybody. And I received this image about a month and a half ago. I received this image of me being in this temple, and the temple being the metaphor for the internal sacred heart space. Really, and the heart is, I talked about this in the video I just made last week about the divine mind. The heart being our portal to the higher self and to the divine self. The heart is now the one in charge. But in order for the heart to really step into the truth of who it is and to own its power as the source of all things for our life, and the heart to move into, we're sort of this hierarchical reorganization in our own selves, and that the mind is no longer the one in charge. The mind now is evolving into the divine mind, and the divine mind sits in service of the heart. And so the two become partners. It's this union. The mind represents the masculine, the heart represents the feminine. It is the divine union within ourselves, working in concert and creating what we desire within ourselves based upon what the high divine self is communicating to us through the heart. So the temple image that I received, and in a reading that I had with a friend, she was basically saying the work that we have to do is repairing the heart self and that heart space and that sacred temple. Because so often in our lives, we go through our lives allowing ourselves to be damaged, offering ourselves up to people and jobs and situations that aren't really good for us, saying yes to things that are really detrimental to the heart space and to the truth of who we are. And the heart is fine. The heart will survive. The heart will go on. You know, it's that Celine Dion song. The heart will go on, but what for us now to move into being in a place of creating from the heart, it requires two things. It requires, number one, forgiving ourselves for all of the times that we willingly walked into relationships, situations, careers, jobs, marriages, whatever, that we willingly walked into them knowing that it wasn't good for us, knowing that it wasn't a healthy thing, but that we did it because we needed to learn something from it. And so now it is forgiving ourselves for offering ourselves up to be taken advantage of or taken for granted or to be, you know, damaged or whatever the thing was. To forgive ourselves for that. To really, truly forgive ourselves for that. Because the heart's love is unconditional and it never holds anything against us. The heart has no qualms with any choices that we make. The heart is always and ever the source of unconditional love and guidance from our higher self. It is forgiving ourselves for doing what we did and understanding that it was necessary for our development and our growth and our understanding. So number one is forgiving ourselves. Number two is allowing ourselves time to heal. And that's what the past month and a half, since mid-July, that's what the past month and a half has been about, is allowing ourselves to forgive ourselves and then to do the work internally on our own sacred space, our own temple, to repair it. And now, the message that I'm getting from people's higher selves and the message that I received from myself, from my guides and my higher self this morning, was that it's time. And what they showed me was an image of me sitting in my temple. The temple has been restored. Everything is gorgeous and renewed and refreshed and rebuilt. And I am now sitting in this throne that's in my temple. And we all have this metaphoric space within us. The temple is the heart space. The throne that we sit upon is the seat of power, the seat of trust and knowing and belief in who we truly are. And sitting in this position of power, not from an ego place, not from lording it over anybody, not from thinking that I am better than anybody, just from a place of saying, I know who I am. I know what I came here to do. I know the truth now of my life, and I understand that the plan that is in place for me, that I have said yes to on a soul level, that I have agreed to, and that I had a part in creating, the plan is now in action, and it is ready to be claimed, and it is ready to be executed, and all I have to do is to stay in alignment with the truth of who I am from this seat of power. And now the doors of my temple are open, and now it is about allowing life to bring to me the people and the places and the opportunities and the situations and the components that will allow me to put this plan into action. And oftentimes that means now we have to leave old relationships and friendships and jobs. Now what that means is the beautiful, exciting thing of meeting new people, new opportunities, new situations, new ways to express ourselves and to live now from the truth of who we are. But it requires us to maintain our position, our alignment, our balance and equilibrium in the seat of our truth and our power from a feeling place. And I've talked about this before. The knowing and the trust and the intuition is always a feeling. And I'm not talking about emotions. There's a difference here, and I think it's an important one. Emotions are a physical, hormonal, chemical response to our lives, or actually I should say reaction, not response, it's a reaction from the ego and from the mind and from the small self. So emotions come to us basically based upon what we think, the stories that we perceive about ourselves and others, our place in our world, our beliefs, what we expect, what we think the world is going to bring to us in life, and who we are and how we are in this world from an egoic standpoint. That's what an emotion is. And I'm not saying that emotions aren't important or that we should discount them, because an emotion always guides us to something that needs our acknowledgement and our healing, our surrender, and our release. An emotion always says, here's a belief that I have about my place and the world relative to everybody else, and how am I separate? That's what an emotion says. I am angry because you did this. I am sad because this happened. I am, frustrated because this. So an emotion is always an egoic, mind-based response. A feeling is always a knowing. It is a trust. A feeling arises without question, and quite often a feeling arises devoid of any emotion. A feeling is a knowing. This isn't the best choice for me to make. A feeling says, I don't know why I want to do this, but I really want to do this. The feeling is guiding me in this direction. This feeling is expansive. This feeling is free. This feeling is joy. This feeling is happiness. This feeling is a little unsure, a little uncertain about who you are and what your motives are. So this feeling is telling me to stay really, really clear and to be really, really focused on my own alignment as I am engaging with you. That's what a feeling is. So now our emotions come to us to let us know what needs to be healed. And our emotions come in, and what our emotions are is visitors to our temple. When we are sitting in our throne in our position of power, we greet, the way that we can do this is we can greet all of these emotions as visitors to our temple. Anger, fear, frustration, revenge, rage, sadness, misery, depression, whatever the emotional state is. We sit in our throne, we sit in our place of power, and we allow it to come to us. And we say, what is it that you want me to know? What gift do you have for me? And the gift is the message. The gift is the lesson. The gift is the meaning and sort of the reason behind the emotional state. The emotion is only ever coming up so that we can acknowledge it, give it our time and attention, bless it as it comes to visit us, and say, tell me what you want me to know. What is the message that you have? And the minute that we acknowledge it and allow it to express itself to us, it leaves. A knowing, a feeling comes from inside. A feeling is an internal state of this is the direction I should be moving in. This is the person I should be engaging with. These are the things that I should be giving my time and attention to, because a knowing is a feeling that comes into response from the guidance that comes through the heart. And so what that requires us is to be very, very clear about the decisions that we have made over the past few months especially. The work that we have done to really cultivate and to expand into the truth of who we are, and to create this space and to rebuild and to resurrect the heart space, the temple, the sacred space that exists within all of us. That sacred space is the housing for the divine spark that comes via the heart as the portal to the truth of who we are. And the wisdom and the guidance of the heart is impeccable. And it will always let us know via a knowing and a feeling of what's next and where we should go and what we should do. And if it is inspired action, it will always be the next logical thing for us to do. Doesn't always mean that it will be easy and convenient, but once we have gotten rid of the emotion by acknowledging it and healing it, the next logical step, even if it's something that's uncomfortable and unfamiliar and unknown, there is no fear. Because we have learned how to trust the impeccable wisdom of the heart and to sit in the throne and the place of truth within our own selves and our own lives, and to know, I am divine, I am sovereign, I am powerful beyond belief and measure. And so everything that comes to me as I sit in this throne of mastery, because that's what it is, it's the throne of our own mastery, master of ourselves, master of being able to see the emotions as they come up, acknowledge them, bless them, thank them, and heal them so that they can be released. Master of knowing that whatever arises within us as a knowing and as a feeling, not an emotion, as a feeling, that we are guided to take action from our place of power. This is what mastery is all about. It is about saying, no, this throne was resurrected and built by me and for me in co-creative concert with my true divine self. And so there is nothing that can come to me that I cannot handle, and and I can choose to let myself be thrown off balance and equilibrium. I can choose to let myself be taken out of alignment by something that comes to me, but it does not have to happen because I am the one in the position of power. And that's what these Venus retrograde energies have also been layering on another level of this. And Venus goes direct September 6th, I think it is. And Venus has been basically saying, I'm going to chill out and take a break so y'all can do your internal inventory to really finally take one last look at what's working, what's not, what's true, what's not. That's why progress has been really slow and kind of grinding and halting. Anytime any planets go retrograde, basically what it means is all that energy now is going internal, and we are really being asked and invited to go internal and to excavate and to look and examine and inventory and all those things. So forward progress doesn't really happen as quickly as we would like during a retrograde cycle. But now that Venus is going direct, we are able to see that relationships, new relationships, relationships that have been re-examined and we have now found a new truth within them, expansion into these new areas of our lives that we may have already known about and have been doing the work on, but we haven't, it's like the car just won't quite start. Now the car started and it's warming up and the engines are starting to rev, and we're going to be moving forward very, very quickly. And that's the message that I've been receiving from everybody's higher self in these sessions and these readings, is that the higher self is saying it's time. It's time. You can do it. You're ready. Go. And that's the message that I received this morning when I was in bed and I was kind of half asleep, but awake enough and conscious enough to kind of communicate and to say, what do you want me to know? And they said, the success that you want is already here. Really, it's time for you to just relax and let go and trust. Trust that you sit in this throne of power, the internal place, and that you are in your throne of power, and that whatever is ready, this is so important, whatever is ready for you relationship, job, career, kids, money, whatever is ready for you will come to you and walk through the doors of the temple. And it is always up to you to say yes to it or no to it. And the way that you can tell is you know by how you feel in response to it. And it is about trusting now that the heart is guiding us. The heart is the portal to the impeccable true wisdom. And the mind is now living in service of the heart. The divine mind is now working and living in partnership with the heart. The masculine and feminine are reunited in this divine union. And now that we have and it's an infinity symbol. You know, the mind and the heart are in this infinite thing. It's an infinity symbol set on its end. And it's a constant communication between the two of them, and it is divine partnership. And the divine partnership and the balance and the equilibrium that we have created within is now ready to be manifest in our external circumstances and our external world. And it starts with us trusting the knowing and the feeling that comes via the heart, because it's always impeccable. And the emotion only ever arises to show us where our time and our attention and our self-love, our self-compassion, and our unconditional acceptance of who we are in every single moment. That's what the emotion is showing us, is where we need to focus that so that it can be healed, it can be acknowledged, it can be healed, and then it can be released. So it's time. It's time. Whatever it is that we have been putting off or not wanting to do or afraid to do or unsure, or that we've been trying to do and we just can't quite get the traction, it's time. And we are going to now see, with the full moon coming up, and then Mercury going, or Venus going direct, and then eclipse and alignment and blood. I mean, September is going to be a crazy crescendo of all of these energies, but it's nothing to be afraid of because we've been doing the work. And rest assured that anything that we've been kind of avoiding or continuing to push to the side is absolutely going to show itself to us in September. So you won't be able to ignore it anymore, even if you've been trying. And whatever it is that comes up for you, as I'm even speaking these words of the things that you've been avoiding, do it now. Start it now, because it's going to be so much easier. It's just going to be an easier ride. We're all getting squeezed, and we're all going to go through these intense energies that are coming in September. But if we've been doing the work, and if we've been sitting in our position of power and resurrecting our true sacred temple, and if we've been really, really, really honest, exhaustingly honest, excruciatingly honest with ourselves and with others in our lives, it's going to be a much easier ride. It's going to be a ride of joy and of fun. And if we haven't, then we just have a little bit more stuff that we kind of have to unload in the process, and that's fine too. Whatever you've chosen to do is right for you. And I'm not trying to put any fear in the mix. This is not about being afraid. This is about saying, all right, the temple's open for business. Here I am in my throne. I've resurrected it. I have rebuilt it. I've done my work. I've done my due diligence, and I have allowed these energies to come in and take from me what it is that I'm ready to surrender anyway, because on a higher level, on a soul level, my higher self is saying, yeah, Andrew's ready to let go of this. Yeah, he's going to kick and scream and put up a fight. Yeah, he's not going to want to do it, but it doesn't matter. It's time. So for me, it was money, men, relationships, sex, intimacy, love, all of that stuff, personal power, personal value, personal worth. And it's time. It's time, and it's a really fucking exciting thing to be experiencing right now. And I'm telling you, these sessions that I've been having with my clients and doing these personal higher self readings have been fucking mind-blowing. It's so cool. It is so cool. And the only reason that this new ability expanded and showed up for me was that I was willing to let go. My old idea of what I thought it was to be doing this work, that was completely created from the small mind. The small mind thought that I had it in the bag and that I knew what I was doing and that we were done and it was just now, come on, bring on the clients. But when I finally surrendered to it, and this was via the Paul Selig workshop that I went to a couple of weeks ago, and the message that I received from him was that what you think you're doing and what you think you know is nothing compared to the truth, and you really just need to get out of your own way. And you really need to surrender this idea that what you've been doing is the only thing you're ever going to do, because you have only even just started to scratch the surface. So what I had to do was completely reevaluate everything that I thought I knew how to do and that what I was doing in service of others. And I had to get really real with myself and realize, like, oh, I've been really limiting. So now what I do is I show up, and my new mantra is, I am the light, I am the vessel, and I am the witness. And my job is to show up and let the energies show me. And so that's what I started doing. And the first time it happened, it was like, bam, all of a sudden I could feel this energy coming from over here in my field. And it was the person's higher self saying, hey, talk to me, because I'm the direct conduit to the person that you're sitting in front of. And I'm going to tell you exactly what it is that they need and what they're ready for. And there's no more relay now between their higher self and my team coming to me. So the energy is much more immediate, it's much more direct, and it is so freaking powerful. And had I not been willing to surrender my idea and my identity of who I was as an intuitive, it never would have shown up. So the point is that it's time. And whatever it is that you've been putting off and you've been avoiding doing, it's time to do it. Just do it. You're ready. You can do it. And continue to do that work of creating and resurrecting the divine space that you sit within in your position of power and truth. And trust that when we surrender and when we say yes, even when we don't know what we're surrendering and saying yes to, that it is going to blow our mind beyond belief, and we can handle it because we are now sitting in this position of mastery. Big stuff. Super exciting. So what I'm going to invite you to do in the next couple of weeks before September kicks off, next week and a half, is get really real with yourself. Whatever it is that you've been putting off, do it. And whatever it is that you've been working so hard on and diligently moving towards, trust that it's getting ready to take off and shit's getting ready to pop. And it's going to be really exciting. And don't be afraid. This is not about going into fear. Do not go into fear. Fear is the illusion. Fear is the emotion that is bringing your attention to the thing that needs to be acknowledged so that it can be healed and released. So acknowledge the fear, but acknowledge it from a place of power and know that that fear is a visitor in your temple that is seeking audience with you, so that you can acknowledge it and then send it on its merry way once it gives you the message that it has for you. Thank you as always for watching. I'm super excited about these new higher self readings, so go to my website, book a one-on-one session, and I can do one for you too. On my website, all my social media stuff is there. Just a reminder too that I have this class coming up September 5th at East West Bookshop in Seattle. It's from 3:15 to 6, Accessing Spiritual Guidance. Everybody that has gone through this class has had a life-changing experience. The feedback that I'm getting from my students who have gone through this class is amazing. So you should definitely come to the class if you can. You can call them directly to sign up for the class. It's $30. It's an amazing deal. Hello. 3 hours, basically, 2 hours, 45 minutes. It's a guided meditation. We'll go one-on-one coaching. It's basically an opportunity for you to meet your guidance and your team directly so that you can begin to work with them. That's it. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.